Here they are, Ike and Tina Turner.
Ike and Tina Turner.
Two of the most exciting and dynamic people in the entertainment business.
Approximately, how many gold records have you put together?
I think we have a lot of them that hasn't been given to us. Things are not always the way they look, you know.
Turner divorced her husband, Ike, in 1976, saying that he'd been beating her for years.
In her book, I, Tina, she brands him an abusive, addicted womanizer.
The book was written because I was having a problem with every interviewer talking about my past and with Ike.
Oh, this is bull.
Did you ever imagine that they would be making a movie about your life?
1993, Venice, Italy. Cinema was about to change forever.
Miss Turner, welcome to Venice. Can you give me your views on the film?
What's love got to do with it?
What's love got to do with it?
What's love got to do with it? A musical biography of blues rockers Ike and Tina Turner.
Tina Turner is convincingly portrayed by Angela Bassett.
Angela Bassett gives a powerhouse performance as Tina.
If someone told me that's Tina Turner on the long shot, I'd buy it.
And the Oscar goes to...
It all started with an audition.
What's your name? Angela Bassett.
There were years, probably in hindsight, that were difficult when you were a little girl.
I was born in New York, and then my parents, they separated very early on. My father's sister, my Aunt Golden, who was an educator, her and her husband, they took me as a 10-month-old baby and raised me. I felt, I guess, maybe a little sense of abandonment. I remember getting a call one day and it was like, "Hi, Angela, this is your mommy, I'm coming to get you." And I remember hanging up going, "I don't have a mommy." And then she came to get me.
At 5 years old, Angela moved to St. Petersburg to live with her mother and sister.
When did you decide you wanted to be an actor?
At 15. Growing up in the projects of St. Pete and Jordan Park, I mean, I watched television and, looking for role models of those ladies who act, who look just like me. There were few and far between. I started doing like little plays in this Upward Bound program that I was involved in. They sent me to DC, to the presidential classrooms. I discovered theater on that trip to DC. James Earl Jones was in A Mice and Men, and I was the last person in the theater, and I was glued to my seat, and I was just weeping.
Don't you heard? Now maybe George ain't gonna let me tend the rabbits if he finds out you got killed.
I had a director of that program who was there for 1 year, then he left. I had another couple of years of high school. At the appropriate time, my mother received a letter that said, "Tell Angela to apply to Yale, to Harvard, to University of Miami, to University of Virginia."
Did you have the grades?
I did, yeah. Okay. I was a pretty good student. I was a really good student.
She was a straight A student, a member of the debate team, a cheerleader, and in the drama club.
You have a master's from Yale Drama.
And I remember my auntie, who was the educator in the family, she was like, "Don't waste that degree, that Yale degree on theater." I was like business administration, I was Afro-Am history, I was English, I was just trying to figure it out. So senior year, I said, forget this. I have to go after what I'm interested in.
She graduated from the Yale School of Drama in 1983, but she didn't find on-screen success immediately.
I worked at Georgette Klinger Salon. Between that, my 45-minute lunch break, I would have an audition, and then I'd get back and I would be, reprimanded. I'd go in the bathroom and I'd just be mad and I'd cry.
I think if you're going to invest your time and money in a news magazine, you ought to be in a magazine that provides news you can use.
Got this sort of word on, the vine that there was an opening at U.S. News and World Report magazine. So I remember going on lunch break, lunchroom, and calling up and trying to set up, an interview for that. And I got it, and it was just a breath of fresh air. I felt like I was so free, but an audition would come up.
How's it going, Selena? Well, look what the wind blew in.
Angela was only 2 months on the job when she got her first TV gig. Then they just kept coming.
It may be you're a nurse on a soap opera. It may be a secretary, someone who sort of gives a little bit of information, move the story along.
All right, lover girl, you keep your eyes open, huh?
I remember you may be playing, it might be a role of I think I did I remember being so ashamed I pulled my hair in front of my face.
You guys aren't doing your job.
My first love was theater, but then you get an opportunity to do television.
Please forgive me, I'll never leave you again.
And then you want to do more, and of course then you want to do film.
Her first feature film role was in the sci-fi drama FX. Blink and you'll miss her.
I spent about 7 years in New York, doing theater. They would come to New York, but then it was if the roles that a brown girl could play, brown-skinned girl could play, they were, capable ones in LA. So it's as if they'd see us, then they'd go back. So that's what made me come to LA. I came to LA to do, film and television.
This is Hollywood Boulevard.
Did a couple episodic here and there, and I remember going to Kinko's, writing up, Thursday night, CBS, 8 o'clock, Angela on, watch me on, friends, family, stamp them, send them, watch me on television. So excited.
And doctor, please be on time next class.
Or else you'll give me pain.
Weekly series or guest spot. And so now you're known for doing guest spots, but you get an opportunity to audition, but never for film. There is a desire in me to not be boxed in.
And I was getting episodics televisions, but it was a finite number, ABC, CBS, NBC. So of course I was gonna run out of these one-hour episodic roles. And then I got an audition from a young filmmaker, John Singleton.
23-year-old director and writer John Singleton grew up in South Central LA.
I applied to USC, I get into USC. And one of the things on the application that I wrote to US when I applied to USC was you have to state 3 different types of films that you want to make. And one of the movies that I wrote in that I wanted to make, and it was about 3 friends growing up in South Central Los Angeles. And I said, I'm gonna make this movie, it's gonna be called Boys in the Hood.
Y'all want to see something?
Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood. Boys in the Hood. It's about life and gangs in South Central LA.
I'm Katherine Jackson. What's your name?
Angela Bassett.
I don't think I read the entire script at the time.
Angela Bassett came about because I asked Fishburne, what are the 2 actresses, and that you know that are the best actresses now that you want to work with? And he said Angela Bassett and Tyra Farrell. And so I had them come in.
Sit your ass down. I said, sit your ass down before I raise my voice and make a fool out of both of us in here. Now, it's my time to talk. Of course you took in your son. My son, our son. Well, I'm trying to better myself, trying to make something out of my life.
So when that came along, it was like this young director who didn't have these preconceived notion about me being, a television actor.
Boys in the Hood is one of the very best films I've seen this year.
Domino mother.
It's a really great movie.
He is my baby too.
In Boys in the Hood, she played a working woman with a troubled teenage son. The part of her ex-husband was played by Larry Fishburne.
And that's when Lawrence and I we come together, husband and wife.
He'd be back.
That was one of the first films that I did. But I would say people didn't put the face and the name together.
People watching you right now are thinking, Boys in the Hood.
And that opened up other casting director and director's eyes. It gave allowed me to be seen.
Please. Yes, as I stated earlier, that
Spike Lee's epic is based on the autobiography of Malcolm X, written with the late Alex Haley.
So you got cast right after Boys in the Hood by Spike Lee and Malcolm X.
I remember the audition. I had this long Malcolm X emblazoned t-shirt, and I would sleep in that, and somehow I found the script from somewhere, and I would put it under my mattress like someone's gonna break the door down and discover that I had the script, this illegal script, and go into the room, and I have been, I think, stalking Spike Lee.
The key members who worked on this film, Denzel, myself, Ernest Dickerson, and Angela Bassett.
And Denzel is there, which is a treat. And you try to get cute and you put on a little lipstick. And I remember him in the scene taking his thumb and wiping the lipstick off of my face. And instead of being intimidated, I would just put do it, Malcolm.
Before long, he meets the woman destined to be his wife. She's played by Angela Bassett as a serious and sensitive woman who sees the man behind what is already developing as the legend.
We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us.
It's exciting. It feels just like a wonderful, wonderful privilege and an honor.
The relationship between Malcolm and his wife, Betty, is a beautiful story.
Complicated person, it's a complicated story.
I think I met her at the screening. I heard a little something.
I wrote an addendum to the script.
And she said it was something like, I only slept in silk.
This never happened. This did happen. This was never said in that way. I would never speak to my husband in this tone.
Babe,
of the most absorbing, entertaining, and challenging biographies I've seen.
Second major film, and you're working with Spike Lee and Denzel Washington.
Angela was in the big leagues now.
You grew up being the biggest Jackson 5 fan.
They were my first concert. They were my first album. I daydreamed about those guys every single day.
Immediately after you were done with Malcolm X, you went on to the Jacksons' American Dream, the miniseries.
Like the title of this 4-hour miniseries, the story of the Jackson family is truly an American dream.
Funny enough, my agents at the time told me, you know what, there's a lot of allegations about Michael in the press, and we don't think you should do this. We don't think you should do this project. I mean, I had posters on my wall. It was like, and here's one of them in the room, you know, auditioning me to portray his mom. This was a trip for me.
The Jackson 5 just became the Jackson 5.
And I remember telling my agents, no, I'm not playing. I'm not going out for the role of Michael. I'm going out for the role of their mother.
Go to bed, Joseph. Go to bed.
Rising from a Midwestern steel town, the miniseries tracks the skyrocketing success of these 5 talented brothers and their family.
And then it went on to have like 40 million viewers.
Oh, wonderful.
If you haven't been paying close attention, in only a year, Angela had went from South Central to Gary, Indiana. But she was soon about to find herself in Nutbush, Tennessee.
Our next guest, a legend in show business and rock and roll music.
You know her name.
Tina Turner.
A member of the Ike and Tina Turner Revue.
That's a long story.
But it wasn't until years later that the price of that fame became known.
I've slapped Tina. His beatings were savage.
Yes. And not just for me, for everyone involved.
Since then, Turner has achieved success on her own terms.
Such a legend as this lady, Disney is making a movie about her.
In 1986, Tina Turner told her story in a powerful autobiography. 7 years later, Disney was turning it into a film.
When I heard that they were making the story of Tina Turner's life, I thought, you know, how wonderful, how exciting. I wonder who they'll get.
First of all, who are they going to find to sing?
I can't sing.
And dance.
I don't have the legs.
And act.
All I can do is act.
And then we looked at hundreds and hundreds of people.
I approved Angela.
I went in like everyone else, and it was a real audition. You know, it wasn't as if they knew who they wanted.
So I go in.
And I looked up and I saw this girl, and immediately I started to smile.
He looks at me, has pictures of her on his desk, and he's opening the Venetian blinds and letting the sun come through. And
Oh my goodness, we got a Tina.
But y'all don't recognize your
you know, I had 30 days to get ready to do it. So they wanted this movie to coincide with this world tour. No one thought I would be good at all or it would be good at all.
You had to physically move like Tina. You had to learn how to talk like Tina.
You had to embody that trauma of abuse as well.
Mm-hmm. You don't know how it's going to be filmed. You don't know how it's going to come across. You don't know with what care is going to be taken. Lawrence was so supportive. Brian would listen to him before he would listen to me. To this female voice, this black female voice, you know, who's just getting a shot. Literally the hardest thing I've ever done, day to day to day to day.
Thank you.
Oh, sure. Welcome. Thank you.
This is one terrific movie, beautifully made period film with a couple of towering Oscar nomination caliber performances.
She's probably one of the greatest actresses to come along in 25 years.
I never wore that.
How she becomes not Tina, but the essence of Tina.
Every word you hear is sung by Tina Turner herself.
She constantly told me that I was perfect.
Come on. Come on. Piece of cake. Yeah.
In addition to all the great music, it's also the drama of a woman growing up and saying no more to being abused.
It's such a debasing sort of feel. I remember she brought some of her photo albums, and I remember saying, "What's that? What's up with your face right there? What's going on?" She said, "Oh, I broke my jaw," and we would say, "We are going to give it everything. We gonna go for it."
Tina Turner turned up in Venice for the premiere of the film.
I haven't as yet seen the film. I'm not so thrilled about thinking about the past. and how I lived my life.
Bassett was equal to a role that required her to be many things. Think about it. At first, she's a shy proper girl. Then she's a singer in training. Then a wife. Then a victim of abuse. And then a musical star. More abuse. And then a woman out on her own.
Accept my name.
And the winner is Angela Bassett.
She won a Golden Globe for her performance as Tina Turner. And now it's time for Hollywood's biggest night.
And the Oscar goes to Holly Hunter.
Man, what the
Have you ever felt robbed when it came to Oscar nominations or winning?
Yeah.
Who won that one?
Holly Hunter.
Playing a mute.
Or what's love got to do with it? Angela Bassett had to learn how to talk like Tina, how to walk like Tina, and how to dance like Tina. Holly Hunter just had to learn how to look sad on a beach.
So if you were to play a real person again or a piece of fiction, what would you prefer?
Oh, I like to try my hand at someone.
What does an actor do after they just played the role of a lifetime?
You didn't get a phone call for a gig for more than a year?
Yeah, about a year and a half.
So what happened to your car this time?
You know, it's just the time.
Yeah. Ray Fiennes and Angela Bassett star in Strange Days, a film about what happens when the computer experience goes way too far.
Look, this is your life. Right here, right now. It's real time. You hear me? Real time.
What a performance. I mean, in your face, out there, taking, scene after scene.
She was the moral compass of the movie.
I see the world swallowing us all.
Well, you can look for her and her biceps in Vampire in Brooklyn with Eddie Murphy.
For centuries, they have roamed the earth, endlessly seeking to satisfy an unyielding hunger.
I've always been more of a night person myself.
This is so entirely different.
What have you done to me?
I did those two films back to back.
Strange Day, Vampire, Strange Day, Vampire.
When did you do the Whitney Houston movie then?
About 4 days after Vampire in Brooklyn wrapped.
And if you've been waiting to exhale, you're not alone. The film marks the return of Whitney Houston to the big screen and co-stars Lela Rochon, Loretta Devine, and the Oscar-nominated actress Angela Bassett.
Whatever happened to the good old days?
So you were the first one cast.
I said, if Angela does it, I'll do it.
The film focuses on the lives and loves of these 4 women.
He's a good man, Savannah. A good man.
It was after Strange Days and Vampire in Brooklyn, and I was so tired.
And he said, Angela, I'm going to New York to talk to Whitney, and will you do it? I said, okay, great. I want to be Bernadine.
Wait a minute.
I wanted to be Bernadine too, Angela.
You had never seen characters on film like this.
When you're working with someone like Angela Bassett, either you're going to be intimidated or you're going to go in there and you're going to just absorb whatever you can from her.
I just went for it. Especially in that closet.
It's against the law to burn anything except trash in your own yard now.
It is trash.
I wanted Bernadine to look flawless because she had money, Yeah.
She looks like $14 million. That's how much her new movie, Waiting to Exhale, raked in on its opening weekend. Whether critics like it or not, she's a bona fide movie star.
Have you had a waiting to exhale moment?
Courtney B. Vance was holding hands with new fiancée Angela Bassett. So how did he pop the question?
Oh, the traditional way.
On my knee. And then propose.
All right.
Angela Bassett and Whoopi Goldberg hit the beach in how Stella got her groove back.
Welcome to Jamaica, ladies.
Stella was a corporate lady until she went on vacation.
I even got to weigh in on who I wanted to be my Winston Shakespeare.
It's Angela Bassett.
But there's trouble in paradise because Bassett is twice as old as he is.
And you were also at the same time planning the wedding to Courtney B. Vance.
You know what? Angela Bassett wants and needs to keep working.
Well,
I was like, can I have a Sunday off? And that's literally all it was, a one-day honeymoon.
Ooh, that's a hot scene.
Now I'm starting to be number one on the sheet, on Stella and how Stella got a groove. I'm Tina. Do we buy into that you can have it all?
She kept working, kept moving, and truly, she was everyone.
And remember, I'm working late tonight.
She said no to things, of course.
Angela Bassett turned down the lead in Monsters Ball.
Halle Berry did it.
I wanted to see her as Storm.
Halle did that too.
The nominees for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Miniseries or Movie are Angela Bassett as Rosa Parks.
She played characters from Rosa Parks to the mother of B.I.G.
What kind of man, grown-ass man, calls himself Puffy?
Now, Angela, you are an amazing actress. You played Rosa Parks, Stella got his groove, and finished Shabazz twice.
By the mid-2000s, Angela had played everyone. But who was she?
When you look at where you are, would you do it differently?
I don't think so.
Earlier in your career, more so than now, there was this pressure to outperform, overperform, be better than.
It comes from family, it comes from seeing your mother get up early and go and work 2 jobs to support 2 kids. It comes from going to the theater and seeing Cicely Tyson in Sounder or Diana Ross in Lady Sings the Blues.
You know, figuring it out as you go along and praying about it and trying to make the best decisions and trying to maintain that sense of joy and wonder and the reason I got into it in the first place.
What's your legacy role?
To be the queen of everything.
Does a voodoo queen count?
Surprised it took you this long to come see me. I signed up for 1 year to do American Horror Story, so I thought that was going to be it. I was working with Ryan Murphy and Brad Falchuk on American Horror Story, and so when my contract was finished with that, after about 4 years, I got a call from Ryan saying, I got an idea for a show.
Angela was offered to lead her own network drama. What could be better than this?
What's your legacy role?
Marvel announced yesterday that Angela Bassett has landed a key role in Ryan Coogler's Black Panther.
He could have chosen anyone to be queen.
My relationship with Angela starts as an audience member first. The first time I ever went to the movies, it was 1991. The first movie I ever saw was Boys in the Hood.
Hey, Auntie.
Without question, the biggest movie of 2018 was Black Panther. When Angela showed up on set, things felt important.
More than just a superhero movie, it was a cultural phenomenon.
What's up, Auntie?
Over $1 billion in sales so far.
Black Panther is #1 again for the 5th weekend in a row.
And she got paid.
She received a major pay increase for her show 911 on Fox.
LAPD, I'm Sergeant Grant.
According to sources, she's getting $450,000 per episode, which makes her the highest paid actress of color in a drama series.
But some things money can't buy.
Who reprises her role as the Queen of Wakanda in the sequel Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. This time, grieving the loss of her son.
The sudden and very tragic death sending shockwaves across the country. Actor Chadwick Boseman died at the age of 43.
We all have such a deep love and respect for Chadwick, and we pay homage to him on screen.
Black Panther's sequel, Wakanda Forever, was done in tribute to Chadwick. And boy, did it deliver.
The film bounded past the $400 million mark at the global box office.
The journey together has been one of the highlights of my career.
You're obviously the first actress to be nominated for an Oscar from a Marvel film.
It had been 30 years since her first nomination. Angela was definitely going to win this one. Right?
And the Oscar goes to...
Jamie Lee Curtis! Angela's toned-down reaction to the loss ended up sending the internet into a frenzy.
Angela Bassett threw a little tantrum.
She didn't applaud Jamie Lee Curtis.
Hey, Auntie, we love you.
I was disappointed, and I handled it like a human being.
She'd end up getting hers, though, eventually.
The actress is set to receive an honorary statuette at the 2024 Oscars.
Legend, icon, those words don't do justice.
Do you think it makes up for her not getting it in the first place?
Giving her an honorary Oscar ain't it. This is them basically upholding the system.
But this honor isn't just for or about me. What I hope this moment means is that we are taking the necessary steps toward a future in which it is the norm, not the exception.
It's an understatement to say that you're a legend of the screen.
For more than 40 years, Angela Bassett has graced our screens, a symbol of grace, poise, and excellence. And through it all, she's remained nothing less than a queen.
I guess